Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Music Notes podcast by Music Bliss. On this episode today, we have a very special guest who is a singer-songwriter, produces her own songs. Without further ado, let's introduce the world to Miss Nao Zumar.
Hi.
Very nice to meet you. This is my first time talking to you in person.
Hi.
Yeah, for the people who don't already know, maybe we could give a brief introduction onto who you are, what you do in the artistic space, that is the Malaysian music industry.
So basically, as per stated, my name is Nao Zumar. It's Nao Zumar. Yeah, it's
Duly
Nao.
noted.
Yep, Nao Zumar. And I debuted as a singer-songwriter based in Malaysia. And yeah, I think that's about it.
Okay. I think you're a relatively newcomer to the scene. You debuted probably around last year?
Yes,
Around
I
last
did
year?
debut last year.
Okay.
Last year, February, yeah.
So walk us through it. How did you first start making music and how did you come to where you are today, debuting as your singer-songwriter?
Well, I've always have been interested in music. I mean, like in general, like into art scene. And then eventually it goes to music since I was around 10. Just like any other parents, when they know about like music stuff, right? They will put their kids to piano classes and stuff. So that's where I started first. And eventually, when it comes to like composing my own ideas, it started when my dad, he's really into music. He really loves music. So he's really hyped about when he found out that I wanted to venture into music. So when I started my piano class, he was like, okay, so now you're going to be like a professional piano player. So I thought like, oh, so he wanted me to be like a professional piano, like in the orchestral side. And then I was like, oh, okay. And then eventually as time passed by, I was like, by the time I was 12, I think I was more into thinking about like doing composition, like my own stuff. Instead of perfecting and existing pieces, I was like, hey, why not I'll try to do my own thing. Just like these bands that, because he was into like Beatles and stuff. And then I was like, hey, that's a cool thing to do. I think that fits more like my thing personally. So
Okay.
that's how I first started.
Cool.
Yeah.
So say you probably got, I would say, the classic treatment from supportive parents.
Yeah.
In the sense that I think most of us start off as like classical musicians.
Yeah.
Doing the whole piano ABRSM Trinity syllabus.
Yes, exactly.
Same as me. Thankfully, kind of understanding that you wanted to do composition at a young age. It's quite rare to see somebody decide on wanting to go in one specific direction in music at your age. You said you was 12. From there on, did your parents facilitate any further sort of like support in terms of like gearing you towards becoming a composer?
Well, I think it was still like, as you said, I was pretty young. So obviously nothing is confirmed or
Right.
take super seriously. But I think they're aware and take note that, okay, so she's going on for like composition stuff. She's going to be like a composer, perhaps. Not exactly singer-songwriter because I was still very young. So it doesn't like, it's not really confirmed to what I'm going to do in my teen years. But eventually, for me, good news is it just solidifies to me wanting to be a singer-songwriter.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Cool. I guess you kickstarted this Nao Zumar project.
Yes.
Probably. When did you first conceptualize the idea? And maybe give a bit of backstory as to how you came up with the name as well.
The name.
Yeah.
So the name Nao actually it's like derived from my actual name. So my actual name is Nuha. I'm a bit more skeptical when it comes to like revealing my personal
Okay. Yeah.
personal info, including my name.
Okay.
So when I had like during the COVID,
Yeah.
a lot of people were using Discord, yeah.
So that's your Discord name?
Yeah, that was kind of like my
Okay.
Discord name. It was like Naoha instead of
Okay.
Nuha.
Okay.
So I kind of like, hey, why not just take that?
Okay.
Just take from that because I originally wanted to use my own name, but then it became quite a common name now in Malaysia.
Okay.
So I was like, derived from that, and then Zumar was something that I just pick up from the air. Like,
Okay.
yeah, I just like, you know what, Zumar sounds nice with now, so
Yeah,
Nao
true.
Zumar. Yeah.
I mean, sounds like a really cool name.
Thank you.
And I definitely remember it because, original name was Nuha. And it's
Yeah.
just like you said, I do know a few Nuhas, but I don't know anybody whose name is actually Nao Zumar.
Yeah.
Very calculated decision. I think it
Thank
was very
you.
wise as well. So let's move on to talking about your artistry. When I looked into your songs, the first thing that stood out to me was that you have songs in 3 different languages right now.
Yes.
Was it intentional for you to want to sing in all 3 languages? I mean, we're from Malaysia, so we've covered Malay, English, and Chinese so far. Did you have a purpose as to singing in those languages, or did you grow up speaking those languages as well?
Well, actually, my mother's tongue has always have been Malay because I came from a Malay household. So that was my mother's tongue. And then eventually I learned and picked up English. I have definitely expressed interest in releasing music in English as well. So yeah.
Your latest song is in Chinese.
Yes, exactly.
So how did that come about?
Yeah, so when it comes to I like to be creative when it comes to my projects, including in the language side. Honestly, it was just spontaneous when it comes for my latest song, which is Nida Ai this time around. I actually don't know how to speak Chinese.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like,
I wouldn't have guessed.
yeah, really? I just took it up as a challenge.
Okay.
As my songwriter writes it, I'm like, hey, why not? I try to mimic as closely as possible with guide, of course. And I'm like, take it as a challenge. Like, maybe I can pull through a Chinese song. Why not, you know?
To me, when I hear the song, I get Chinese New Year vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a love song at the end of the day.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's very well done. I would have never guessed that you don't speak Chinese. I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. If you're writing a Chinese song, how do you approach writing the lyrics? Since I assumed you wrote all the lyrics for the song as well.
No,
right?
no, because I don't know how to speak
Okay.
Chinese. So I give full credit to my lyricist,
Okay.
Brendan Savan.
Okay.
Yeah, I think having a good lyricist really matters. And I'm lucky enough to find someone that really knows my goal and really knows how and what I want in my song. And yeah, I think I found the right person, and I was lucky in that. Yeah.
Yeah, the whole songwriting process is always very interesting. Sometimes it comes from one idea from a person, and it might take a full team to put together. Coming back to that, let's talk a bit about your writing process as well. As a singer-songwriter, do you normally bring a demo to your producers? And do they sort of conceptualize maybe what kind of genre it will be, what kind of style they should go for, or do you already have a clear-cut idea for every song demo that you write?
For me, I always am open to the creative side, but as well as I like to just be calculative to a certain point. So usually, like you said, I like to bring my own idea first. That's usually how it goes. I'll hop out to Ming and I'm like, hey, I have these ideas, and then we'll set up a session.
Just for context, Ming is your producer.
Yes,
right?
yes, Mingling, yeah.
Okay, shout out
Ming.
to Ming from Mass Music.
Yep,
right?
yep,
Okay.
Yeah, I will contact Ming, and that's how it's usually done. But sometimes spontaneous thing, it happens. Just like this song, it wasn't intentional. It was more of usually because I do songwriting as well. So Ming would tell me hey, he will tell me let's try to do something maybe let's try to do Chinese song today, and then maybe let's do something that have some dangdut vibe to it. And then I was like, hey, let's go, let's try it out, let's actually do it. And that's how it actually came about. So we did the beat together, and then eventually I got the hook first, and then I actually skipped the verse for this song and went straight to pre-chorus, and then eventually the very last ones are the verse and the outro. Yeah, but for me, for all creative ideas, be calculative to a certain point, just that be very open to get spontaneous ideas and then just let it flow.
Yeah, I think that's the fun part about making music as well. It's you get to have sort of an amalgamation of different ideas from different perspectives, and those usually produce the best results from what I've seen. I do have to also sort of talk about the songwriting part. So I understand, after having chatted with Ming as well, that you also do a bit of songwriting demos and you pitch it to other artists as well.
Yes.
One of the artists that I noticed that you had a song with, or you featured on, was Siti Nurhaliza.
Yes.
And on the song Ganti. From me listening to Siti Nurhaliza back in the day, and this makes me sound very old, but I promise you I'm not that old. It's quite different because it's more of like a pop song. It's
Yes.
definitely a very like pop song, like
Yes.
modern pop song.
Yes, definitely.
And she's got her vocals on it, and then I hear your vocals on it.
Yes.
So I understand that that was a song that you guys pitched together, and you managed to get that song.
Yes.
And was it her idea that she wanted your vocals on it as well, or how did that come about?
That was actually a very quick, like it's a very spontaneous
Yes.
and funny story. Like it was like a miracle for me to get her on my first year to pitch a song and she accepted. And then obviously it was very confusing at first. I was mostly like hoping that, okay, maybe hopefully at this rap part I would get a feature, but it was more of like, it's more like a wishful thinking, you know? And then that was after we pitched it around like me and Ming. He pitched it to Universal around October, and then he gave me the news. He's like, "Hey, we might get a song with Datuk Siti." I'm like, "You for real? Like, come on, like, it's still too soon, like too soon to tell." And then so I was like, "We just keep it low key until things are actually confirmed." And then around January, he was like, "Hey, it was 2 demos that we actually got to pitch to her. Both of them got accepted, and then." One of them, which is Ganti, which is what I'm thinking of, like I have more intuition of confidence of this is going to be accepted. So that actually got accepted to the final shortlist for her. And then that was the time when I'm like, hey, I really hope I could get a feature in her song. But it was a bit wishful thinking. And then their management said for our first recording for the song, we want to do it at Manbai Studio. If you know Manbai. I was still new as well. I'm like, okay, let's just go. Let's just see how it goes. And then we went, and he had a listen to the song first. And then he was like, hey, you're actually pretty good, yeah? Like, he heard this demo version, which I sang on. And he was like, hey, you're actually quite good. I'm like, oh, I just took it as a compliment. I didn't take it too seriously. Obviously, it was just too random. And then I'm like, oh, thank you. And then like, after that, when Datuk Siti came, and she recorded, and then it reached the rap part, and then then he approached, and then he told his ideas. He's like, hey, why don't we let Nao actually do a feature and take this part for herself in the song? And to my surprise, everyone was like, hey, yeah, that's actually a good idea. And I'm like, oh, they're actually like want me in the song. And that decision was just made under 3 minutes. Like they just had one discussion and like, yeah, let's go with it.
That
so
has
I'm
to be
like,
probably the most validating thing ever.
yeah. So I was
for
like,
sure.
whoa, this is actually really happening. Like I actually really got a feature
Yeah.
with her.
So you did the whole recording with her whole team in the studio as well?
No, we actually did separately. I already had the demo version prior, so they had to listen to that. And then only after that, when there's fixes that I do need to do, I do it separately after. Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's got to be amazing though, to have that as within your first year as well.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, if you manifest it, I'm sure it will happen. Cool. So, yeah. So right now you're not signed with any label right now, right?
I'm fully independent, yeah.
That's probably a lot of things that a lot of our viewers will probably want to know as well, because there's always been talks about, should I get a label if I want to really push my career, or can I do everything independently? Being an independent artist, you have to have your own team, I'm sure. So I'm sure you have to have your own team to do perhaps your marketing as well as maybe your videos. Your production team, we've already touched on that since you work with mass music a lot. But for the other aspects of artistry, video, marketing, those usually come hand in hand as well. So do you have your own team? Do you have your own team for that?
Well, since I just debuted like last year and as an independent artist, so I think my main support is, as per mentioned in the beginning, from the get-go it will be my family, because I have an older brother that is as well an artist. So I think both him and my mom was so heavily involved in supporting my career as well, regardless of from financial, from like the media that I need, and even from the networks as well. I think that was like really like helped me to drive throughout my career as per last year, and hopefully more to come this year. So as of now, I think that is it. I will try to always do things within my capability first, but I'm hoping more to come, and then have a proper team to guide me as well. So yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I know for the video stuff, we have our collaboration together with Music Bliss. Is this your first music video?
Need I? Yes.
Yeah, Need I? It's your first music video.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yeah. You know what? I think within the span of the year, achieving small milestones, I'd still say it's pretty. You're on good time right now.
Yeah.
Like, so cool. Do you have any sort of like future projects or aspirations, or maybe like dream collabs that you or people who you want to work with? Like,
Well, I definitely have a lot of future projects that I'm planning on,
which you can't talk about yet.
which I definitely can't talk about, but
Okay.
I'm excited for things to come.
It's
So, yeah.
2024, so it's
Yeah.
going to be a new year.
Yeah.
We're going to expect new music, most likely
Well,
anytime
we don't
soon.
know. We don't know.
Okay, so you're just going to drop it like spontaneously as well.
We'll see how.
You know
We'll
what?
see as
If
things
anything,
comes, yeah.
I think the keyword is spontaneous. So when you drop it, I guess we'll know.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, we can sort of like end this, and this is something that I usually do. I usually put my guests on the spot
Yes.
by having them interview me instead.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so usually what we do is anything audio gear related or anything
Yes.
you've always wanted to know, whether it's regards to Music Bliss or what we do there, you can ask like one or two questions.
Okay, so I have two questions
Okay.
for you.
Okay.
Since, well, obviously you guys are Music Bliss, right?
Yeah.
And you guys sell audio equipments, right? As a singer myself, what do you think is the vocal like equipment related stuff that we should look out for in 2024?
Okay. Are we talking about stuff that hasn't been released yet?
It could be as long as it's in 2024.
Okay, so for stuff that hasn't been released yet, obviously I can't really talk about it because there's also NDA involved, even with
Okay.
sales, which is funny. Maybe because I have to throw in another question first so I can give you the recommendation. What microphone do you use right now?
Well, as of now, I'm using in the studio.
Yeah, in the studio.
In Ming's studio, he's using a Mojave.
The Mojave.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's your go-to mic right now?
Yes.
Yeah. It's funny because when I was talking to Ming, he also did ask me what would be gear that you could use for recording. So you already have the solid interface in the studio. You already have a more than solid microphone. Have you ever tried recording with analog equipment?
I have not.
No?
Yeah.
Okay. In a traditional like Hollywood studio, what you would have is you would have the microphone go into a microphone preamp. Audio interfaces already have the preamp built in, but you can have an additional one for color as well as for equalization. Some of them do have that. So you could get a microphone preamp, and you could also get a compressor as well.
Right.
A vocal compressor. A compressor is something that you could use a lot in pop vocals, especially just to ensure that your dynamics are not too wide.
I
Yeah.
see.
So if you have a compressor and the levels are more even, that will save your engineer a lot of time.
Right.
Especially during the mixing process, because he doesn't have to go in and do extra edits. Yeah, so microphone preamps that you could consider. Got some nice warm audio stuff that emulates the Neve channel. If you're into the British sound, if you want the American sound, then you would have to get stuff that's maybe a bit closer to like the API.
Oh.
We also have some solid state logic stuff as well.
Oh, okay.
But that's all on order basis.
Oh.
For compressors, you could get something like, you could get the 1176 by
Okay.
Universal Audio.
Mm-hmm.
You could also get the LA2A, which is probably the most famous compressor.
Right.
So I would say that because you already have such a good mic, and if you have technique which allows you to sort of like limit your dynamics, or depending on the song especially, sometimes it might not always be necessary. Yeah. And with analog gear, it's the same as how you sing the song. Everything is to taste. Everything is by genre. It's not very specific to, I can always use this piece of equipment on every song.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why music is such an expensive hobby, because like you have to experiment with so many different equipment. Main thing I would say is the microphone and the mic preamp. So that mic preamp could be something that you could look forward to getting to in the near future if you wanted to further like change up the sound depending on your use case. Does that answer your question?
Definitely, yeah.
Okay.
Definitely take note on that one.
Yeah. Did you have a second question?
Well, for my second question will be, what would be, for Music Biz, what would be your next big project that you guys are looking forward to?
I'll give you a bit of a
Yes,
summary of
give
what
us-
happened
give us hint.
last year, and then
Okay.
maybe what we hope to do next year.
Yes.
So last year we did many projects for the Kawai brand for our digital pianos,
Oh.
as well as we have acoustic uprights as well.
Oh.
So, and last year was also the year of a lot of collaborations. We were trying to like reach out to a lot of industry people, a lot of artists such as yourself,
Yes.
to work together to sort of elevate our brands, elevate the store presence as well.
Right.
I think you also know this, but we also brought in the Gibson brand. We are sort of like the main people who distribute Gibson in Malaysia now. So we
That's
have our
cool.
flagship store in Star Hill as well.
Oh, nice.
I'm not sure if you've been to that one yet. You should definitely check it out because it's really big.
For sure.
Yeah, and we also have more guitar collaborations coming up as
Oh,
well.
nice.
I think our plans for 2024 would basically be to just create more awareness in the artistic space for the music industry, because ultimately it benefits the whole music industry as a whole.
Yes, yes.
We've started out our channel doing a lot of gear reviews,
Yes.
a lot of product reviews. We talked about a lot of gear, compressor pedals, stuff that we usually use, stuff that we would find beneficial for the customers.
Right.
I guess we've started to see the difference in a sense that we need to sort of help bridge the gap between somebody who's starting out for the first time with people who are already in the scene as
Yes.
well. And or maybe perhaps somebody who's looking to get their first guitar.
Definitely,
Maybe
yeah.
what would be the process, how you can put, what to look out for, this sort of things. Because the last thing that we would want for any of our customers to experience is they end up buying the wrong item,
Right,
something
yeah.
that doesn't suit their needs, and they end up getting demotivated because of it, because the stuff is not cheap.
Yes.
So imagine
Definitely.
if you get something that doesn't work for you, you get so demotivated, and then
Yes.
you just end up quitting altogether. That's bad for it's bad for us,
Yeah.
and it's bad for the music industry as a whole. We would definitely want more musicians around for the near future, because Malaysia does have like a very interesting pool of artists as well to work with. Yeah, I went a bit off tangent there, but to answer your question, what to look forward in 2024?
Yes.
Definitely more collaborations.
Oh.
Also in the works. I can tell you off the record, some of them haven't been confirmed yet. So, I mean, this project itself was quite an interesting one for us as well, because we get to talk to people who are like up and coming. We get to do videos with them, that sort of thing. So I guess you can hope to see more projects like this in the future.
I see.
And then
Okay.
from there, perhaps we could have our network. We could definitely do like extra videos together and like connect each and every one of us.
I see. So more to come.
Yes, more to come. Okay, I think that's all the time we have for today. This was a very fun talk, and I hope you guys were able to get an idea of how it is like to be an up-and-coming singer-songwriter, Miss Nao Zumar.
Naozumar.
Yeah, I am too American for this country.
No, not Nao.
Yeah.
Naozumar.
Now, I will get it right from now on.
Yep.
Now on.
Now
Yes.
on. Yes.
Okay. Thank you guys for watching. As usual, please leave a like and subscribe if you like the content. Hit the bell for the notifications, and we hope to see you in the next episode. Till then, peace out.